We move on to some of the presentations of the evening before we get to our distinguished guests up here at our head table. First, we have the Spirit Award, which is really a very unique and intriguing and fun aspect of the entire evening. And if you would, turn your attention over to the video screen for me.
It's gone beyond what I've ever expected.
The kids and the athletes just are tremendous athletes.
The best thing is when parents come up and say how much a kid has come out of his shell since he's become a part of this program.
I got involved in the program when I was en route to Quebec City. And my wife and I were at the terminal, and I picked up a Reader's Digest article about a gentleman in Toronto that was making a remarkable difference in young people's lives.
I was approached by Tony Sansone, and he said, we've been very fortunate. We've got healthy kids, and we'd like to give something back.
As everyone knows, Kelly is the philanthropist among the philanthropists, and anytime he can do good for people, he does. And he has a very much of a softness in his heart for children, and for those that have been maybe ill-fated, if you will. And it took a phone call. And Kelly, it was just when, where, and what do you need?
There's a tremendous amount of work that goes into it. And a guy like Jim Hermann, who's been one of those volunteers right off the bat, has taken the program to new heights. I have been fortunate to be a part of it, but I get a lot of the credit, which it's not due. It's due to these people that really have spent hours and hours and hours of time. And
being together with these families for these 15, 16 years, it is like family. And watching these young men develop, some of them, Daniel Haynes was 10 years old when he started. He celebrated his 26th birthday here in December. So, just seeing these kids not only develop as hockey players, but as young men, individuals.
I see kids working in the community at different places that I know have gained a huge amount of self-confidence through the program. They feel like, hey, I can do a lot more things, or hey, I've achieved something, and they brag about it, and that to me is pretty good.
The Gateway Locomotives, folks, they just actually participated in a tournament in Washington, D.C. and had one of their best tournaments ever. The senior team went 3-0. The junior team was paired up with the Boston Bears. They went 3-0. It literally just got done either yesterday or today, I believe. And Jim Hermann was able to get back in time for this. I was talking to Jim prior to the start, and he said, you knew you were doing the right thing when the very first tournament that the Locomotives participated in was up in Parry Sound. And while up there, they traveled over to Toronto to see Toronto. While waiting for the airplane at the airport, one of the kids who had been playing kind of hockey in his basement and loved the sport of hockey but never had a chance to play in a team setting like the Gateway Locomotives provided, looked over at his dad and said, "This is the best weekend of my entire life." So in tournament number one, it might have summed up a whole program before the program really even has achieved the levels that it has right now. So the Spirit Award for the St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame in 2010 goes to the Gateway Locomotives. And here to accept the award is Tony Sansone, Kelly Chase, and Jim Hermann. Fellas.
Thank you. I see there's going to be a set of curtains missing from some trailer park in Kansas City with Sansone's coat that he's got on here tonight. In any event, I see a lot of people here that were out there for those first skates that first year. It's really impressive. It's unbelievable. 80 teams or something like that now. And I know when I was in Hartford, I like to forget about that, but when I was in Hartford, I was we got something going there, and I got back home and was part of it again, and then I had started having kids of my own, and this program just kept going, and I haven't been committed like I was at one point, and it just keeps growing and growing. And I said it on the tape, and I just wanted to take a second here to tell you this. I get a lot of credit for the program because we helped initiate and start it, I guess. But the true credit goes to those people that are out there every week with those kids. Jim Hermann, who's been there endless hours, and you people that are sitting around here today that still do it. You're the ones that deserve the credit. I've got credit from the NHL with the King Clancy Award. I appreciate it. I know I'm proud of it, but it truly, you guys that do all the volunteer work and all of the time that you put in, thank you for that. And I know the guy that really does all the work, Jim Herman's got some things to say, so thank you very much.
First of all, I'd like to thank, on behalf of the athletes and from the families, and especially the athletes of the Locomotives, we'd like to thank the Hall of Fame here for this prestigious award. We feel really excited about it. The kids were all pumped up. Unfortunately, we had a tournament in Washington, D.C. that ended last night, and most of the athletes are probably en route, if not just now landing at the airport. So we did bring some athletes that were here and some that did come home early, but I can tell you the athletes were really bummed that they couldn't be here because they feel that this is just an outstanding honor, as any athlete would involved in hockey would just love to have participated in this program. So we thank everyone with the Hall. We certainly appreciate it, and we think a lot of it. I would just like to, Chase is throwing a lot at me, and Tony is throwing a lot at me. I've heard him, again and again saying, you're the one running the program. But we wouldn't be here today without either one of those two guys. Tony, as you know, he's a very, very busy person. If you know Tony and call him on the phone, sometimes you'll get, Tony Sansone, you have 15 seconds. And, you think, wait a minute, Tony, I need 30 seconds. Can I get 30 seconds? Maybe I can buy another 15 seconds. But Chase said he'd sell it to me. So, but Tony's a very busy person, and as you heard on the TV, on the video, and you saw in the magazine, he was traveling. He saw this article. He came home. As busy as Tony is, he picked up the phone. He made a phone call, and he got involved. And as a result of him getting involved, he's affected the lives of 120 athletes that would never, ever had the opportunity to play the game of ice hockey in an organized setting. And that's what it is to us. It's not, hockey to us is not the end result. We don't keep stats. We don't keep won and loss records. It's the experience of playing the game. It's the experience of the camaraderie, the sportsmanship, the team play, the traveling to tournaments, and we've always tried to keep that as much as you would any tournament that any normal athlete would go to. We travel as a team, we stay at a hotel as a team, and we try to function as much as possible as a team to give these kids, these special athletes, the opportunity to have that experience of what the great game of ice hockey is all about. So without Tony picking that phone up and getting involved, without Chase stepping up to the plate and providing an opportunity for us to have a place to practice, we wouldn't be here today. So I again, the parents and the athletes, we thank both of them tremendously. It's not much else that I can think of that we can do to thank these guys other than from the bottom of their hearts. I know each one of these athletes, just if you've ever saw them play, and that's what impressed me about this group of young men and even ladies, they give truly 120% when they play. When they're on the ice against their true peers, it's like the light bulb goes off, and it's the energy is pumped into them, and they would literally skate through the boards if you ask them to. And they try sometimes. But we thank everybody here. We thank again the Hall for this award. We're very excited about it, and most of all, we thank Tony Sansone for providing us the opportunity of being here. And we thank Kelly Chase for making it happen.